Alrighty, hello there, everybody. How you doing? Today, gonna upload a little bit of a live conversation from yesterday. I was on my good buddy Paul Capaldi's channel, who hails from Scotland, and we were talking about making a murderer, Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey. We were also talking about Eagle Nation, Michael Funk, the $50 million bullet, which are two cases in Wisconsin. We were talking about those things, and in the at one point in the video, I referenced the fact that I wanted to have a chat with his wife Eunice and my friend Sharon at one point, and when I said that, he got up and Eunice sat down. Funny enough, so we ended up having a little bit of a chat about not necessarily just Scottish independence, but just talking about people there in the UK, talking about how Scots and people in England there feel. If you go to Mr. Capaldi's channel and watch the video, you'll see quite a few people in there commenting that are from the UK. So it's interesting. But it was a very interesting conversation. Obviously, I love talking with Eunice, and eventually Paul sits back down, and we all three were chatting about it. And then eventually the conversation moved back over to the true crime stuff, which is really what we generally usually talk about over there. So, but I wanted to go on ahead and extract this one bit because I just thought it was a lot of good conversation and a lot of good points being made, and calling attention to the fact that the actual people of Scotland and the actual people of England actually do have a great deal of love for each other, and they really do, have a lot of love for each other. Like I say, I've seen it on both sides where the people talk fondly about the people across the border. So I really believe this is not a problem between the people of Scotland and England, or England and Wales, or England and Northern Ireland. This is not a problem between the people, because as far as I can tell, the peoples of those lands love each other. It's the government in Westminster that is really mucking things up, in my opinion. So, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and let you see the little chat we had. I love talking with Eunice, and we will be having Eunice and hopefully her sister on to speak with Sharon and I at some future point and talk more about this particular, facet of the situation over there in the UK and all that's going on in terms of Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland and all that. So, anyway, here we go. Without further ado, we got to get together with Sharon again and talk about Indie Ref 2.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. I'll look at this.
Not right now. I said with Sharon.
She can't hear what you're saying because she's not got the headphones on.
In other words, he's in the bathroom. How are you?
Was he's got to take the dog out? Was it lifting its leg on his rug again?
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing?
I'm good. Unfortunately, Scotland lost against England today, and England got the Calcutta Cup, which is very disappointing, but never mind. We had a good day otherwise.
Yeah.
Spending time with my mum and my sister and my brother-in-law, so that was good.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. How about yourself? How are you doing?
I was working in the morning, got home, did a show with the folks over at Eagle Nation, which was over in Nina, and now I'm chatting with Paul.
Good.
So, yeah, I was gonna say that you and I and Miss Sharon Sunshine got to get together again and to talk about Indie Ref 2.
Yeah, that'd be good actually, because there's been quite a lot of developments as far as independence is going. So
good and bad actually, but yeah.
A lot of public people coming forward, really like actors and stuff like that coming out as independent, and
right.
The latest was that my sister was saying today about Nicola Sturgeon actually having to have permission from Boris Johnson to visit European countries.
Right. Yeah. That's That I remember I saw that being being talked about. I've heard about a clause in the Brexit agreement that could potentially allow Boris to take back some of the powers of the devolved parliaments, which I think would be. I mean, I feel pretty sure at this point that the way it's going to get handled is that Westminster is going to alienate all the other parts of the UK. They're not going to care, and they're just going to continue to do it and say, if you don't like it, what are you going to do about it? We're the big bully on the block. And that's going to be their attitude. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see it all play out.
Yeah.
Sad in a lot of ways.
Without a shadow of a doubt. But I think certainly, obviously for us, pushing independence is going further and further forward.
The polls are growing. The yes numbers are growing.
And actually, in the older generation, which has been the biggest problem with us, that's why we lost the vote the last time, was because the older generation weren't happy. They wanted to keep Britain together as such.
Right. Better together, right?
Yeah. Whereas now they're actually seeing what Johnson's all about, and they aren't really happy about what's going on. And that's, Sean Connery, I think, was one of the ones that came forward today.
Yeah. That's cool.
Who's really a big influence, obviously, in Scottish history and stuff like that. Yeah. So, we're pushing forward, and hopefully we'll get the vote. And I
think it's inevitable. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I think it's inevitable.
No. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Eunice, I was on a job site with a gentleman just the other day. He's English. He was actually born in England and grew up there and everything, but he now works here. He installs security systems. Pretty sharp guy. Really, really, really sharp guy. So he just happened to be there on this job site, and I just couldn't help but ask him. And I go, hey, dude, I just want your reaction. Just the first thing you think of when I say the words Scottish independence. And he looks at me and he goes, inevitable. That's the word he used. He was like, because he's like, yeah, he goes, Westminster is just, he goes, look how many other countries have won their independence from Britain.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because we had the international today, and Wales have got their national anthem. Scotland's really pushed in the last 20 odd years to get Flower of Scotland as their national anthem, and England has still got God Save the Queen.
Right.
And which is like, the British Isles and India, when it was British Australia Empire, the British Empire. And Paul was saying, my sister brought it up, and, she was saying, so what do you feel about that? And Paul was saying, why haven't England got like Jerusalem, which is very much iconic for England? I mean, did we have Jerusalem at our wedding, Paul, actually?
No, Dad's funeral.
Oh, Paul's dad's funeral. But, very iconic having Jerusalem playing at English events and stuff. So why haven't they got their own national anthem as such, rather than God Save the Queen?
Right.
And my sister said, it's very much a power play.
Yeah.
Because they want, like Johnson, for example, wants to keep the British Isles, as far as he's concerned, together. Yeah. And by England having the national anthem. Controlling.
Right. That's my thing. I think the biggest problem I see here, and I'm sorry, England, I love you, and wish you all the best post-Brexit. Keep cranking out Doctor Who. But anyway, they're very careless of the way that they treat the other parts of the UK. It's obvious. Westminster is extremely careless. So I really am not having a whole lot of sympathy for Westminster. I'm having a lot of sympathy for Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland. The wind is blowing. The wind is changing.
Oh, without
mean,
a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, you got your 51.9% of people in the UK that voted for Brexit, but when you really look at those numbers, the numbers were in England in favor of
Yeah.
Brexit,
Yeah.
but in the other places not.
Not.
So you had to know moving forward with it that
Mm.
you were taking the chance of fragmenting your kingdom, and this is the thing that I feel that Westminster is not owning, and they are not wanting to own this in any way. But they moved forward on this very, very, very slight margin of a victory here,
They're on a,
knowing the problems it would create, but
yeah.
just wanting to ignore them. And
they're on a knife edge without a shadow.
yeah,
Without a shadow of a doubt, they're on a knife edge.
I keep hearing more and more commentators saying that they can't see this. It's an untenable position that they can't hold it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's a joke, you know, and I like, you know, my mother's English, my husband's English, you know,
Right.
And yeah, to be part of that UK, it's really hard to try and think that there's going to be a divide. I mean, I didn't want it to be the case of having a border, you know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's so many unpleasant. Yes, I know. I get it. I do. It would suck, right? Because to not be able to move freely between.
Yeah.
You know, I agree, but it's like as more and more I research, and by the way, Carl, I absolutely agree with you. I know there's lots and loads of English people and Scottish people that love each other, and there's lots of love there, and there's no denying that it is there. That's why I try to speak in terms of Westminster. You know, basically the people that are running the circus. I almost said show, but no, it's a circus.
Yeah,
but no, yes, I absolutely, Carl. The English people and the Scottish people do have a great love for each other. That's don't deny that at all. So.
And as I say, being half English, because potentially, I am half English, and I've got a lot of relatives down in England.
Right.
You know, and I have no animosity whatsoever, other than, you know, when we were playing England today and they lost to kicks. You know, I didn't cheer once. Well, maybe once, but you know, it's banter. A lot of that sportsmanship. It's banter. Right. You know, and you would do that with them.
Right.
You know, Paul's sitting next to me when we were playing, and you know, when that happens, and it's all banter. But you know, and it was funny because somebody said to me yesterday in the World Cup, when Scotland got out of the World Cup, it's very much that you support the next national team, which was England. You know, and yeah, without a doubt, I would say that the percentage of Scottish people would say we want England to win because we are a nation.
Right.
You know? But
it's kind of like an alternate home team. Right.
Yeah. And I honestly, hand on heart, can't say that some of the English people would say that about Scotland or Wales or Ireland.
Well, they would.
I think there's some. I've actually seen a lot.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I've in my little journeys here in the last couple of months looking into this stuff over there in the UK. There's a lot of English people that have a lot of love for the Scots too. I see them expressing it. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, it goes both ways. It's unfortunate to me that two men started this whole ball rolling. Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage. Now, I don't begrudge people that voted for Brexit. I mean, if you voted for Brexit and you're going to get it, so good for you, but it's not going to be fun for you dragging literally half of the population of the UK along on a trip they didn't want to go down. And especially when three of the actual kingdoms that make up the United Kingdom voted decidedly against it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna create problems, and it's the disingenuousness of Westminster in realizing that is a problem. They're just trying to act like, oh no, it's not a problem. There's no big deal here. Plow forward, business as usual. And 3 parts of the UK are going, no business as usual. We're not happy. We need to deal with that. And I just see a complete dismissal of that, which I find I find it concerning. So
Yeah, and it certainly is, because when you look at, I don't know if you ever watch Netflix, like The Crown. So you're talking about the
He's an expert on British history.
Right, okay.
I don't know about expert, but you're not exactly a dollard.
Yeah. Looking back at all the stuff that went, with the monarchy and stuff like that. I mean, didn't get us wrong. I like, as much as what's going on with Prince Andrew, and in the past with Diana dying and stuff like that, I would still say there's a place for the monarchy.
Right.
Personally, that's my personal view.
And
and
even it seems like even like Australia and Canada felt the same way.
Yeah.
Because like they still have the Queen on some of their money.
Exactly.
Like there's always this reverence, even after the separation, right? Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and I do feel, obviously everybody has got their families going on, and there's things going on in their families that they're not happy with. And unfortunately, like with Harry and Meghan, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
I've got a great empathy with them, because I just think, these kids are trying to live their life.
Right.
But on the other hand, Meghan knew what she was getting into.
Sure.
It wasn't a secret.
Right.
What was going on?
No, definitely not.
And for it now to be going, they want to make their own life. Good on them for doing that, and standing on their own 2 feet.
Sure.
And I get that without a shadow of a doubt. But I still feel there's a place there for the monarchy.
Right. I know how you feel. I think that maybe she liked the idea of being princess for a while or something, but I think once she realized what it really meant, that she was just like, oh, okay, no, I don't like this. But they're going to be under a microscope now for the rest of their life, because literally people still feel about them the way you do. So even if they're not, they are. It's like, I don't care what some piece of paper says, from mommy. I still want to follow those two. I mean, they're still going to have that white hot spotlight. So I don't think that's that.
Yeah, and it's like, oh God. Flipping heck.
And then what's everybody thinking about Prince Andrew right now? That's
oh my God. Well, that's another oh my God.
The royal family's having some issues right now.
Well, I think is it going to be his 60th soon? And they want everywhere to fly the Union Jack for Prince Andrew's 60th birthday.
Oh yeah, I saw something about that. There was some updates.
Yeah, and Scotland, all the places that they've asked in Scotland to fly the flag have refused.
It's so Scottish. I love it.
That actually he needs to be brought to the forefront, because
he really does need to go and give testimony and help in the investigation, in my opinion. As far as beyond that, I'm not accusing the guy of anything. All I know is he was around at times where things would have been happening. So,
it's the same when you look at again. It's like The Crown. It's predicting what, portrayed what had happened. But it was the same with Philip when the Christine Keeler thing was going on. He was photographed at these parties where these young girls were
Right. I mean,
put up with prostitutes.
He clearly had to have some knowledge, because after knowing Epstein was going to be brought up on charges, still went and spent a week at his house.
Yeah.
So, what was going on during that week? I'm sure they weren't just sitting around playing tiddlywinks.
Well, exactly.
So, yeah.
And has he ever been brought to forefront for that? Not as far as we're
So, that's why I say I think he needs to give some testimony to kind of let people know, whatever. If he's going to claim he wasn't involved, he had to have seen something. So he should be letting the investigators know, and so that's my only criticism of him. If mommy wants to let him go, that's up to mommy to decide.
And you've got to stand up and be counted.
Yeah,
absolutely. For your actions, whether you weren't involved or whether you were part of it or whatever. You knew what was going on. He was there. He knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, well, he most likely did. Yeah.
That I wanted to touch on was about the Scottish finance guy. Have you heard about him?
Oh yes, I did a video.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that disgrace causes Jackson Carlaw and Richard Leonard to jump up and start talking about grooming. It's like,
I know.
He was 16 years old. What's the? By the way, Eunice, what's the legal age? The legal age of consent in Scotland?
16.
16.
Is it really?
Hang on.
Okay.
For heterosexuals.
Only for heterosexuals?
Yeah. For homosexuals, it's 18.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The actual Scots law makes a differentiation between. Okay, that's. Wow.
It used to be 21.
I would imagine that
it's now 18. And
I would imagine something like that would set the LGBT community like ablaze.
Absolutely.
Like what we're not capable of making decisions. I can imagine that being their complaint on that. That's odd, but okay. So technically, then, that would be wrong. The article I read didn't mention that thing about 18, about with same sex.
As I say, heterosexual is definitely 16 in Scotland because you can get married at 16 in Scotland.
Right.
But homosexual, they're 18.
Yeah. Regardless, I think the guy was out of line because he's over double the kid's age. So I mean, I think what he did was kind of despicable or whatever. But what I ended up doing was putting it in perspective. And I just saw a tweet today. So the Conservatives in the past, Theresa May reinstated two MPs, one that was under who was being accused of rape. Afiki was his name, I believe. Afiki. And then there was another guy who had sent over like 2,000 sexually suggestive texts to various members of parliament. Both of these gentlemen were reinstated for the confidence vote in Theresa May, and reinstated as MPs, even though there was an ongoing investigation into both of them. Just saw a tweet today. Afiki is facing charges for 3 of the accusations that he has against him. So he is being brought up on charges for 3 of them. He was reinstated. That's what the Conservatives and the Tories did.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have the Labour Party. Okay. Richard Leonard was quick to jump up and talk about grooming here, right? So then you have the Labour Party. Well, the women in the Labour Party got together and did something called a hashtag Labour2 thing. Not too long ago, and they had a bunch of women that were, and people that had been treated badly by members of the Labour Party or whatever, go to this website and explain some of the things. And there was basically the big main complaints were, number one, there were known predators or known problem people that everybody just ignored it and thought no big deal, business as usual. And the fact that all victims felt like they couldn't report their crime because then they would just get in trouble instead of it actually getting looked into, and just a few other things where there was this horrible standard going in the Labor Party. So to hear both of these gentlemen jumping up to slam the SNP so quickly, when you have these clear things in their party's past that they need to answer for, I just thought that was
ludicrous.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, you got to be kidding me. This guy raped. This guy's coming up on charges for rape. Okay, it's not like Derek Mackay. Sorry, it's not like Derek Mackay even touched the kid.
No, it was very much human, wasn't it? It was very much over the internet.
Literally just social media messages. They never ever met in person. So it's a kind of a different thing from rape. But a rapist got reinstated by the Conservative Party. These are things that trouble me.
Yeah.
Because why was that allowed to happen? Just because Theresa May she thought both those guys were voting her way? I don't know.
Absolutely. It's all jobs for the boys and shaking hands and dark side, as somebody said, and it's one rule for one and another rule for another. And you get unfortunately you get a lot of that, and it's funny because watching the rugby today, there was one of the guys that was playing for Scotland. His mother is the head of the SRU. And I hadn't realised that. And when they were going along, Princess Anne was shaking hands with everybody, and she was behind shaking hands. But when she came to this guy, he hugged her, a right hug. And at the time, I didn't think anything about it. But then as the commentary went on, saying, that's his mother, who's the head of the SRU. And I'm thinking, nepotism.
That was totally unrehearsed, by the way.
And that was totally unrehearsed. But it's
talking about nepotism. What about Negroni?
It just screams that, and I just think, no wonder people don't want to do things or push things forward, because they just feel that what's the bloody point? What's the point?
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to that.
Yeah.
It's like look at the way that Nigel and Boris kind of pushed the whole Brexit thing to where it was, because there's the bus ad. I was just rewatching some of the stuff about Brexit last night. So there's the bus that Johnson traveled around in for a month before the referendum vote.
Yep.
And on the side of it, it said, we'll save $190 billion or $190 million a year that we won't be paying to the EU that we could put to our NHS. And right. Yeah. And that was on the side of a bus. And then you had Nigel Farage, obviously, and both of them were in the news acting like they were President Bill Pullman from Independence Day, talking about Britain having its Independence Day and doing it all dramatically. And so they got a lot of people in England fired up about it, and the vote barely floated over the net. And it's like, and now look at what's happened.
Yeah.
Boris is now the leader of the Conservative Party. He's now maneuvered into the place to drive this home, which is something he started really in the first place. And it's, for me, with Brexit, I'm not for it or against it so much as it disturbs me how it was so 50-50. That's so disturbing to me, because it literally means half the population is going to be dragging the other half of the population, kicking and screaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part.
And you know what's sad about that is that actually a lot of the 50% are older people that have had good times with Conservative. and being able to buy the first home and
Right.
get all the
Maggie Thatcher.
benefits, Maggie Thatcher time and stuff like that. It's all going through, and they can't see past. And like I think I said that when we were on with Sharon about my father, God rest his soul, was very much of the opinion that he was interested in what was going on, but his opinion was, right, so let's look at like myself, his daughter, my sister, my brother, but his grandchildren, and saying to them, what are your views? What do you want me to vote for? Because actually, it's not going to benefit me.
It's not for me, right? Yeah.
It's for you that I want to see what's happening. It's you that I want this to benefit. So you tell me what you want me to vote for, because I'm not going to be here. And not, God rest his soul, is not. But my sister and I often talk about that, how forward thinking of an old guy, not thinking about himself, but thinking about the future of his family, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, the effect that it's going to have on them. And I think that's something that really, really formidable, for somebody to look like that. But unfortunately, trying to hit that with the older population, it does seem to be hitting now because of Brexit and everything, that actually the realisation.
Right. 64% of Scotland was very decisive in saying we do not want to leave the EU.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be very interested to hear from you guys when you find out how much you're going to be paying for insulin now compared to what you used to. I'm actually very interested to find out what the difference is when you find out. Yeah,
exactly. We haven't found out yet, but no, definitely that is one thing that I'm very, very curious about.
Right. I mean, I am too. I mean, I'm curious about how things are going to change. What's the material change that people are going to notice?
The other thing that my sister was saying about, remember I was saying about the Nicholas Sturgeon Humphrey asked permission to go to European countries. The other thing was that
presumably in her official capacity.
Yeah.
He's not saying that she can't go anywhere.
No.
But as a representative, as the leader of Scotland, right?
She can go to the Canaries on holiday.
If she wants to go clubbing and rock it up.
Absolutely.
Okay. She's got lots of nice shoes for it. So.
In an official capacity.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
Scotland pay a lot of money into Britain.
Yeah.
And when it was the European Europe, we paid a lot of money into that. In fact, more than what England does.
Right, or a larger percentage. You mean?
You mean per population or as a total?
As a total.
Right.
But we still have to pay that into the British account.
Coffers? Is that the word? Coffers?
But also, Nicola Sturgeon has to pay double because she has to pay her own passage if she wants to go to European countries on official capacity.
Oh, isn't that mean? Making Nicola pay to go on her own holiday.
But she also has to pay twice because she has to pay it into British.
When she goes on holiday?
Not on
Well, it's going to be the same for the rest of us.
Not on a holiday, on an official.
Okay.
But it's all right. There's a wee domestic going on here, folks.
Yeah.
Sit back and enjoy.
No.
I'll go and scrub the deck, shall I?
Yeah.
But no, there's something about her having to,
No, I heard about that. I think it's ridiculous.
But also, that if she wants to go on and do official duties in Europe. She has to get in contact with Boris and see if that's all right. But then she has to pay, we Scottish taxpayers have to pay for her to go as well as it already been paid into the British economy.
Isn't there a precedent here, though, to simply to be careful what you wish for, you know? I mean, 2,000 years ago, the whole of Britain was overrun with the Romans, you know? I would gladly have them back if they could sort out our fucking roads.
Fair point. The roads are really bad here.
You know, we need our roads repaired. Bring back the Romans. What have they ever done for us? Everything.
Well, yeah, the Romans were definitely a shining light in a dark time.
Yeah.
So,
Trimontium is only 3 miles down the road from us. You know, and there's a big thing in Melrose.
It's a Melrose. It's a fort. It's the Roman fort.
Yeah, Roman fort.
The ruins.
Oh.
The remains of the Roman fort.
Okay.
In Melrose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we going here?
So is everybody pissed off at us now? Let's see.
Probably. They should pay their own way as politicians. Yeah, you've got a point there. They should. They get enough money out of us.
Well, they get longer expenses, don't they? But no, let's.
Well, I just did a video the other day where it looks like, I don't know why, but it looks like for some reason Scotland is putting 4.4% of its basically gross national output towards defense. But then when you look at UK as a whole, somehow the UK as a whole is only paying 2.1% of UK's GDP.
Yeah, but dude, you know perfectly well there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. You know, I mean, you know what it's like. It's like every, you know, just let's just go back now to this guy, the finance minister that's resigned. You know, I've been telling you all along, and I think you've agreed with me. You know, the politicians, I wouldn't trust any of them as far as I could throw them.
They are most of the SNP better than I trust the other ones.
Well, even them, it just shows to show you can't trust them, can you?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. That being the inherent nature of being a politician is, you know, it's something that the politicians have to deal with because they get the reputation for being fickle.
Oh, without a doubt. And you know what's really sad about it is there are people that are politicians that are really, really dedicated to their job, but you very rarely hear about these people that are dedicated and are really good. What is that? Out of speaker. There's a really weird sound going on. And I'm thinking it's the weather. The weather's really shit at the moment. The storm is hitting, and it's really, really wet and windy and just bloody awful, to be fair.
Yeah, We Scottish Lassie was on. Let me see her. Anyway, one of the girl we Lassie or We Scottish Lassie on my other video was saying it was really windy there.
Well, we've had a few Negronis, so it could be quite windy inside here as well. You can have Bella. She's already micturated on my work 3 times.
Micturated.
I've got a question. Sorry, just to digress. Just to digress. Back to something important. Because
Scottish independence.
No. But the thing is, to me, it's I get the fact that you've got these people high up in politics, and they are the worst of the worst. They're like the police that become the attorneys, that become the judges, that become the politicians. You know, you've got some shady people out there. That's how they get to the top, by being shady as hell. You know.
Yeah.
But talking about corruption over there in Manitowoc. I believe that there's a trailer out for the $50 million bullet.
Yeah, has been for a little while, but yeah.
and you went live with Steve Arado and Kay.
Today, yes, I did.
Yeah, I didn't manage to catch it. We were watching the shenanigans in Murrayfield.
Which you probably would have been better speaking to you.
Which I would have probably, yeah, watch you because.
Well, by the way, they want to come on your channel, so you need to talk to them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's. I mean, we went across on. God, what was it? Was it a June morning in Manitowoc?
That was me.
It was Manitowoc. We were in May. In Manitowoc, we were in May. It was in June.
Was it? I thought
it was June when we were in Manitowoc,
right, okay.
and we went
June.
to Eagle Nations, and the dude drove.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was.
Well, we drove over on Sunday to Nina.
That was only going to take a couple of hours, Richard. By the way.
Holy crud! I don't know what I was thinking, dude. It took an hour. The time flew when I came back from Nina to Manitowoc, and I didn't realize once we did it, I was like, oh my God, that was an hour just getting here. I was like, oh crap. Yeah. I almost didn't make my plane. I literally did almost miss my plane.
Yeah, your estimations were slightly out there, pal.
Well, you see, the problem is, you see, where he lives on Crunch Island, they don't have clocks, they have sundials.
Which still work because the sun's always shining here. So
exactly. But finally, I mean, we must let you go. And I'm sorry that the SNP member for Gala Shields has hijacked the.
I'll have to get my sister on. Well, I'll have to get her down. You would be on for about 3 hours because she would have totally and utterly converted. She's a lot more intense.
He's already converted, but you're all right.
But even more so. And everybody else,
I'm willing to take in all information.
The dark side of the moon, you'd be up there, and everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, independence! I'm going to go to the next rally, and I'll take some photographs and send them. I might even do a live one."
Yeah, we'll get you and your sister and Sharon Sunshine over on my other channel, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really good.
So, all right. So that was my little chat with Eunice and Paul. Obviously, I hope to have some more conversations with people actually on the ground there in the UK, and not just in Scotland. I'm actually thinking if you guys actually go over to Paul's broadcast and see the comments in the live chat. There's a gentleman there named Carl Mann who I think I'm going to see if I can get him to come on and we can kind of chat about this a little bit because he clearly seems that he's in England and, but was keen to express that he loves all the other people in the UK and everything, but that he understands that the government is mucking things up, in a lot of ways. So I might have him on for a chat and get points of view on the ground from different areas, hopefully. So that's hopefully what we're looking to start here. Obviously, we'll soon be having a chat, we hope, with Eunice and her sister and Sharon. If we can't get Eunice's sister involved, we can still get me and Eunice and Sharon, and we can chat and that sort of thing. And we'll just hopefully continue to try to talk to more and more people on the ground. You guys have obviously seen we talked to Matt Drain here on my channel after the Inverness March. Great guy. I like him. He's a really good guy. And I'll continue to get more and more points of view on it. There are some folks over on Twitter who disagree with me and the Yes Movement and the SNP, and that's fine. I don't begrudge anybody that. That's their right to form their own opinions and feel the way that they do. I would like to hopefully convince one of those people. I know one of them won't because they're using basically a faux Twitter account. It's clearly not them really, and it's an account that they use, I think, maybe to comment on politics and not tie it directly to themselves. So anyways, I doubt I'm probably going to be able to get that one on, but there is another one there on Twitter by the name of Resolution 12. I'm actually hoping that I can maybe get that person on for a chat at some point. They have an interesting line. They claim that they're not a unionist, but they are a no voter. And and so they often have a lot of critique of whatever I might say or tweet or that sort of thing. And so I tend to have a lot of back and forth with Resolution 12. So it would be interesting getting Resolution 12 potentially on at some point if possible. Maybe I will. I'm not afraid of talking to people on both sides. A lot of people think that I am charged. Well, I kind of am, because I believe in democracy and I don't minimize the democracy I believe in. And I think that's where I run into a lot of trouble with some of the unionists. I think a lot of the independence voters understand where I stand. They know I don't live there. They know I'm not. They know I'm not like emotionally tied to anything particularly in Scotland or in the UK, other than I enjoy certain television shows coming out of England, such as Doctor Who, and and I love history, and so a big part of that is UK history, European history. I love all that stuff. It's very interesting to me. So I have an interest, but I don't live there on the ground. I don't know the everyday problems necessarily as well as the people on the ground. So I'm not as, when I say I don't have a horse in the race or I don't have any skin in the game, it means that, I'm just pretty far removed over here in California, compared, in relation to Scotland and the UK. So, yeah, I will continue to listen to what people say, and I'm going to continue to fact check it. And I'm going to continue to see what's what. But the way I see it right now, the facts say that this was a ruinous decision that was going to fragment the UK. That's really, all indicators showed that. It was right there in the voting. I mean, and the only way that you can deny that is by denying the Scots. And, well, Wales and Ireland, Northern Ireland as well. Only by denying the fact that they voted opposite of England can you yeah, it's a sticky situation, but it is a reality. Brexit is a reality, and now that it's a reality, that's going to cause other things, cause to effect. That's what's going to happen here. I honestly don't want to see, as I was saying in the video, if Scottish independence happens, it is going to be kind of a messed up thing in terms of will Westminster be able to swallow its pride and negotiate some kind of an arrangement with Scotland and potentially the EU, because Scotland does want to rejoin the EU, and we already know that the EU is leaving the light on for them, right? So, I mean, this is the realities. This is the realities, right? So I do hope that Westminster can swallow its pride, because I'm pretty sure that the Scottish Parliament is going to want to work to create some kind of a situation where they can ease the travel between Scotland and England and make it as close to as possible as it is now, if the independence, if or when the independence thing happens. So, and as we can all see, the polls are already moving in favor of yes since Brexit. So it's already starting to jump a little bit. It's jumped about 3% since Brexit already. So that shows a little movement. Like I said, hopefully the politicians will be able to put their egos aside when independence does become a reality for Scotland, that everybody on both sides will be able to put their egos aside and negotiate a migration agreement, travel agreement, whatever it is, something to try to keep as the borders between England and Scotland as open as possible. Granted, obviously, that's going to have to be worked out, and it could be difficult, particularly if Scotland is part of the EU, which we all know, of course, is likely. So, but hopefully, egos will get put aside, and that the people of England and the people of Scotland will not suffer for the egos in Westminster, or potentially even in the Scottish Parliament or the Wales devolved parliament, or the Northern Ireland devolved parliament. Hopefully the egos will get put aside and the right decisions will get made for the people. But the fact of the matter is, the way things are moving, it's pretty clear that things got to change, because there's just not, too many areas are unhappy with what's happening. And when you have, it's like I said, I wish the Brexit vote was a little more decisive, because 51.9% is just, you're literally half the population is dragging the other half along, kicking and screaming, and it's not an ideal situation. It's going to be exhausting for the people dragging the other half of the population along that path, and the people that are getting dragged are going to be very indignant and very unhappy with the way things are. So it's just creates, when you have a narrow margin like that, it creates a problem. Hopefully the UK finds a way to deal with it. And I do wish them success on that. So anyways, that's about it for this one, folks. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.